expensive. You just wait. All things.
Okay. So let's start with the two discussion topics. First of all, three of you totally missed the fact that you need to comment on two posts. And so you lost half a point on each one of them. And I checked again. So something that you need to know, there's 8 of you, right? 3 of you made the same mistake. If 5 of you or 6 of you would have made the same mistake, I would assume that it's my miscommunication. But when 5 of you had it and 3 didn't, then, pay attention to the instructions. Okay. So, why is entrepreneurship hard? I looked, and by the way, your answers, your discussion was pretty thoughtful. So the only reason why you would lose any points was because you didn't comment on 2. You need to comment on 2, at least on 2. And I appreciate the fact that some of you have responded to the comments as well. So you gave good answers, but here's a question that I have for you. Do you think that it's only the company, the culture in the company that prevents that makes it so hard? Or do you think that entrepreneurs go to small companies and people who are the opposite of entrepreneurs go to large companies? What do you think?
I think as a whole, yes, because of the way you say that. If I'm an entrepreneur and I really want to start something unique in the company and decide to go to AT&T, I'm going to struggle. I know that. I know the culture. I know people who work for AT&T, and not that they're going to shoot me down, but there's just a lot of red tape. But if it's a mom and pop, if it's someone who's like, well, I've got some ideas, let's work together, try to figure it out. That's the culture.
So you think that entrepreneurship is something that people are born with, that's who they are? What do you all think? Are you born an entrepreneur? Are you raised an entrepreneur? When do you become an entrepreneur?
At some point, I think you have a passion, you find a passion, or you find an interest in something. And I think you start to have a passion for it and you start to see a vision in it. I think so. I don't think you're necessarily born. I don't know. Is it a gene? I don't know.
Yeah, excuse me.
Oh, I agree. And to add to that, I would say it'd be people with like a very clear, like, just a very clear maybe concept or like solution or product in mind, and they've got a very clear path to like on how to execute that per se. My older brother, as an example, had started up like an automotive shop, and for him it's been a passion, and then that passion turned to a clear vision, and then now it's just how do we execute, and I would consider him to be an entrepreneur in that sense.
What makes entrepreneur, say Sam, what makes entrepreneur different?
I think there are certain qualities that entrepreneurs are born with that set them apart from other type of people. And I think.
Give me an example.
So maybe not born with, but nature versus nurture. Like if you're grown up and you're resilient and you don't let a no get in the way, you keep going, you're persistent, you don't give up, and you have grit, then I think that those type of people tend to go towards entrepreneurship, or they fall into it in a way because they're just not going to take no for an answer. Whereas certain personalities that are more passive probably could be entrepreneurs, but you have to have a lot of confidence and a certain level of, I guess not ego is not the word in a bad way, but just to know when someone tells you no to your face that you just take it and keep going versus taking it and shutting down and running it the other way.
Okay. How about risk? Is there different levels of risk in going to work for a small company versus a large company? What do you think?
There's a risk. Other business ventures that are keeping you pursuing some ventures. I think that smaller companies, you don't see much of a diversity of the different opportunities they're pursuing, basically because they're focusing mostly on their primary cash drivers.
So it used to be that you would go to work for a large company because there was job security with large company. I remember once we were in a trade show. I was sitting in the room with the Texas Instruments CEO, and another employee came in and said something to him. And I don't remember what the CEO said to him, but this employee said, "Hi, hey, I'm a week away from my 20th." In Texas Instruments, it used to be after 20 years, you would get kind of like tenure, like, you can't be fired. I remember the CEO said, you're not there yet. But there was this concept of, once you go past a certain line, universities still have that. Once you go past a certain line, once you get your tenure, then, it's really hard to fire you. So there's this job security. But that kind of went away. It went away in the early 2000s when very, very large companies started failing. And very, very large companies started saying, we're not keeping employees. So it used to be, if you embrace risk, you would go to a startup, because what's the advantage of the startup, of working for a small startup company? What's the advantage? Autonomy, you get more autonomy, but you don't know that necessarily at the beginning. You may get autonomy in a large company as well, and maybe you're going to work in a startup that doesn't give a lot of autonomy. Why would you take the risk and work for a company that you don't know if it's going to make it or not?
Growth potential.
You have a lot more growth potential.
And maybe a bigger piece of the pie if it blows up, then if
Yeah.
you were there in the beginning and believed in it, and the payoff will come.
I remember at PCTEL, when I sold the first company to PCTEL, I remember I had an assistant, and she was 21, I think. And one day she knocked on my door and she said, "I think I'm going to quit." And I thought I did something wrong. And I asked her, why would you quit? I mean, did I do something? And she said, "No, I don't think that I should work anymore." I said, "You're 21. She said, "Yeah, but when I joined the company," we're talking about the assistant. "When I joined the company, I got stock options. Well, we just went public, and so I sold my stock. And I made $2.5 million. I don't think I should work anymore." So we kind of worked out, I really pushed her to go and go to college and get a degree. She didn't have a degree, but there is an upside potentially in startups that's really hard to find in a large company. But there's this phrase, no risk, no reward, right? So the same goes the other way around, no reward, no risk. Okay, so let's keep that one. And when we look at companies, and you're going to be looking at the two companies for your project, when we look at companies, we think of what business they're in, right? So we look at Netflix. Is Netflix in the video streaming business? What is the business that Netflix is in?
Subscriptions,
The what?
like subscriptions.
Subscription is the business model.
Content creation.
Content creation, okay,
Entertainment, maybe? Is it more-
entertainment,
They were in the video rental to begin with,
okay,
then they obviously moved to different categories, say live.
what business are they in? Content distribution, okay. Here's how I want you to think about that. So I'm gonna skip. So there's Ring as well. You know what, maybe we'll touch a couple more. I want you to look at the two red lines. What is the function that they provide? What or who are the people who buy things from them? So this comes from a book called The Innovator's Solution. I told you about the Innovator's Dilemma, which was the first book. The Innovator's Solution is the second one, from Clayton Christensen. And he says, you think that you're in the phone, he used BlackBerry, if you remember what BlackBerry was, and he used to say, people think that BlackBerry, the company, well, the company was Research in Motion, BlackBerry was the device, used to think that the device is to get email, but it's really not. He said the devices that they build are to pass time. There are snippets of time that you don't have anything to do, and you pull out that device and you check your email or send email. That's what they're about. So let's go back and ask ourselves, what is Netflix? What does Netflix do to their customers? Don't think business model.
Entertain.
Entertain, okay. So
Consumes their time.
what?
Just consumes their time. Sit
Consume
there and you
time.
binge for 3 hours.
Fill time with entertainment. See how you're starting to look at the companies a little differently? What does Toyota do? Don't tell me build cars.
People
The what?
move people. Move them from one point to the other.
Move people. That's an interesting, the what?
They shorten time.
They shorten time.
So if you to walk somewhere, it'd take you a long time, but if you were in a car, they can make it shorter for you to get places.
Okay. See, when you're thinking about why the customer is buying it, it's a different reason. There's another class that I teach, and I ask, there are several different cars. And when your customer says, your customer, your car customer is someone who buys the car, who uses the car for deliveries, okay? An independent delivery person, or an Uber driver. Let's use an Uber driver. The person who buys your car is an Uber driver, and they tell you what's important to them. What's important to them in the car that they buy? What are the features that are important? Is it how fast it goes 0 to 60? No.
Passenger comfort, fuel economy.
Liability.
Reliability. Let's touch on reliability. All of those are true, but let's touch on reliability. Why do they care about reliability? So hang on one second, I'll step back. So what do you do as a car manufacturer if your customer says, what I care about is reliability? What do you do? How do you solve that problem? How do you address that concern? Okay, not you, because you're affiliated with Toyota. Sam, back to you.
Yeah.
How do you solve? Your customer said, I need a car that's reliable.
I would just make sure that it's built to last,
Builds it better.
yeah, so it works when they need it. And it lasts.
You said a very interesting thing. It works when they need it. Keep that in mind. Okay?
And just, that it lasts,
So what you're going to do is you're going to improve how you build the car, right? Amri, is it really reliability?
Say it again.
Is it really reliability that you care about?
If I'm
Why do you care about reliability?
because when I'm taking people around the city, I want it to not break down. I want to know that it's gonna work. It's gonna work time and time again, and I don't have to necessarily take it to the shop, right? Because I gotta take customers around. That's how.
You get up in the morning, you want to put the key in, turn the key, and you want the car to run.
Yeah, that's
Is
how.
that reliability?
Time and time again, I don't have to deal with it. Any issues, then that's reliability.
Is that reliability?
Dependability.
Dependability, I think, is kind of relying on reliability.
Just being functional and working.
Functional and working, looking for something else. Nick,
Maybe how often do I take it to the dealership to get repaired?
we're getting closer. Efficiency? Not efficiency, Asa.
Well, I kind of associate safety with reliability. You have a sense of safety that your car.
But that's not what he cares about. He cares about something else. He calls it reliability, but that's not really what he cares
To
about.
rent the car,
What?
the cost to rent the car. Because all the maintenance that I have to do on the car costs me more.
No, stay with the reason that your number one reason was I'm just saying that you're using the wrong word, and if you're gonna use the right word, we're gonna find another solution for you.
Fully,
Quality,
Consistency,
and now we're getting closer.
what do you say?
consistency, like it's consistent.
I'm going to challenge that what you're looking for is availability. You want the car to be available 100% of the time. That's what you care about. Not that it's reliable, that it's available.
Okay.
Does that make sense to everyone? Is there an alternative to building the car as Sam suggested? We're gonna build it like a tank. Nothing is gonna break. Every system is going to be tripled and redundancy and all. Is there an alternative? If what he cares about is really not reliability, but availability?
You build it so simple, it's just very easy to maintain and repair on your own. If it does, so if it isn't available, it's
Easy
extremely
to
easy
repair on my
repair.
own?
Yeah.
Interesting approach. What else?
You mean like an alternative product is what you're asking? Like, is there an alternative?
Is there an alternative to what you suggested, which is we're gonna focus on how we build the car so it doesn't break? Is there an alternative that assures availability?
Good. What if it was like
Disposable.
really cheap? But I'm able to buy many of them that fits the glove of having it be
But
available,
then he needs to buy multiple cars.
but it's available.
It's like a dealer to loaner account into this,
What?
dealer loaner, your cars.
What if what we did was instead of saying, we built you a car that will never break down, which will never happen, right? It will break down, or maybe it's gonna be too expensive. What if what we do is we will know that your car is not running, and within 5 minutes, you're gonna have another car? Does that answer your problem?
Yes, yeah. Okay.
So warranty?
No, not warranty. Our promise to him is going to be that if something happens to your car, we're gonna know about it, possibly even before you know about it. You know, it's like a lot of devices, internet devices today, they tell you ahead of time that the battery is about to run out. Yeah. So before it ever happens, you know that the battery is about to run out. Anybody here has an HP printer with the ink program? You do?
Tells you when it's running low and then.
It tells you, but they do something else.
They almost they have a subscription as well. It's like, oh, you can re-up before it gets low as well.
Do you have the subscription?
Oh, no.
Oh, no, that's okay, I'm sorry.
Ink is
I
expensive.
have that subscription. Here's what happens. Before my printer runs out of ink, a package appears in the mail with new ink. With new ink cartridges. I didn't even know that I'm running low. And it's not that hard. The printer is connected to the internet anyway. It's not that hard. We're gonna know that your car, something is about to be wrong with your car. You don't even know about it. A new car shows up at your doorstep. This is your car for today. We're gonna take the other car to fix it. Does that answer your problem? But it's not reliability. What you cared about is availability. This is one of the most important things in entrepreneurship, what we just did here. And that is to really understand what is the function that your customer is after. Because we are way too often fall into the trap of the solution before really clearly identifying what the problem is. Henry Ford once said that if I'd asked them what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. People wanted to go faster. You talked about shortening time. People wanted to go faster. The only thing they knew was horse. And they said, they would have said, if he had asked them, they would have said, we want faster horses. They came up with a car. Because what they wanted was speed. They wanted something faster. They wanted to get from A to B faster. It is really critical that when we look at the companies, when you look at your two project companies, You think about what is it that the customers really need, not what they say they need, because often what they say is what they think the solution needs to be. Does that make sense? Try and adopt that way of thinking. Okay, what we're about to do right now is I'm gonna give you 5 minutes to organize in your two teams. 5 minutes to organize, and then I want one of you from every team to stand up, describe the company that you chose for your project, describe the industry, company position, high level, pretty much what you did in the assignment with one caveat. You're working for one of these companies, you're working for the other. You're not the presenters. Okay? I'm gonna give you about 5 minutes. You know what? It's 6:53. I'm gonna give you until 7 to brief someone to be able to present. And then I don't need you to present up here. You can present from where you are. Okay?
Who wants to take
We
it?
can't talk, but who wants to talk? Yeah, there's a.
So that, that's way to describe it, because it's property preservation and restoration.
Pick a number.
And I'm gonna say those two are key, because property preservation is one half of it, and restoration is the other half.
Essentially.
Not other half exactly, but
Yeah, that's what I was.
it kind of
That's what
blanket
I-
everything.
That's what I was looking at, okay.
Yeah.
Property preservation and restoration.
You look at like,
They know.
Not in here.
sure.
Yeah, no, I don't mind, yeah.
The way the company structure right now is very horizontal. We try to get it vertical. That's what we're trying to do with sales. Well, we do everything in the sphere, so.
Making communication. right?
yeah.
So it's a car manufacturing.
It used to be called mortgage contracting services, and everyone, it just
Car
sounds so generic, so
manufacturing.
then you see no change.
Yeah, financial service company.
Well, that falls in with.
Yeah.
The description, right? To make it communication.
Founded in the early 1900s.
And it paints a better visual.
Yeah.
The story.
Good enough. It was like 1930, 1930 something.
We're a bit-
In the
property preservation,
Yeah, they're perfect. That's all you need. That's all you need.
Pretty-
Yeah.
So how do you put a good positive spin on it? So. Rachel, that's not the company, that's not the document.
Okay, so.
Number one in sales.
Property one, conservation, and restoration, I would imagine that. Private industry competitive. Is there, so you guys. Preserve and restore homes for other people, or you
Yes.
go acquire these?
No, so my thought long term for this class was to go acquire, because right now we are the vendor.
Cheapest
That
house.
secure, that
Yes.
renovate,
Yeah, yeah.
that turns, it does all of the neat.
High level.
Fine.
Finance.
My overall thought was, well, how do you become an
That's what
entrepreneur?
I
Why
love.
don't
We
we
need
buy the
to pay for
property?
it.
Instead of just
The
trying to work
numbers.
for people who.
What are those numbers?
Anyway,
And
that's-
skip
And the key personalities,
but
you're gonna
that's-
definitely need to pay for
no,
it.
That's
I
why.
can't remember which one was.
Industry,
Exceptional and.
it is really
accomplished.
kind of a wholesale industry.
37.
30. I knew it
That's
was-
not.
But it's-
For me, the year just.
Just real estate.
Only a
property
century.
It is an established company.
Yes.
Renovation.
I'm gonna tell you. I don't think most people.
Remodeling.
There's remodeling, there's tenants, working for
1937,
tenants,
yeah.
income, it's all of the above. How do you describe it like succinctly?
Yeah, yeah, loosely.
Okay.
So.
But,
And the, yes, the key personalities. are gonna definitely-
Position within the industry, we are a,
That's like that section.
Yeah.
the reason we do what we do is one, because we are a national company.
Accomplished.
Technically, our
Yes.
competitors.
Who are these people? Can you tell us a little bit about them?
Who can go?
Do you interact with them at all, or do you just have that as like pictures on a
So why
website?
should they choose us? Because we are throughout the company, we have a self-perform model.
Vice president.
We are well established, what we did, we do government work. Does that make sense? So, but then we do have to purchase it more than what we call it truck and a truck. Fine, but that's.
Leave snacks, don't you?
It's hard. Okay, so. So the companies, because I'm not hungry enough to eat so much.
Yeah, all right.
That's not gonna be.
All right, all right.
It's gonna be.
I would say, that's hard because
It would be nice.
Like Christopher, your professor asked like, well, what's your market share? No one's really public who does this.
Are you offended?
It's really difficult to try to hone in.
It's a hard life for us. It's so hard sometimes.
Sitting next to you guys that eat is the worst.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So high
Both my
level review
parents
the
will
company's
pay
financials.
It's one of the reasons.
200 million
Like
in
Stanley
revenue.
Cups is because. they make sure they're
About
not
10% EBITDA.
Right.
30%
You know, for
margin,
me.
25 and 30% margin.
Um,
Biggest expenses
Maybe the
are
creator Stanley Cup is
subcontractors to
left-handed.
do the works.
Yes, business development side.
Very, very little assets. Invest.
Alright, so we guys hit the end.
Distributing assets.
This is our favorite here. Okay. Sick. The accomplished, okay. Group vice president.
So you said very, very little.
And
overhead.
the
Well,
solutions
what do we
is
do?
definitely something we
Yeah.
need.
Very little.
So these are usually,
You, is that a studios? Is that supposed, that's not studios.
Right.
The city? Seriously?
Property preservation site, absolutely. So then our customers can Barrington, JP Morgan, Lawn Care, and just all of
Mandy,
them.
right?
Is-
these houses.
Now,
and
the
they
other
have
side of the
like-
company is
That's so-
private companies will buy the home state with them out.
Yeah.
Well, if the employees call, they're not the ones funding it. They call us to fund it. So it is there's, that's why like the property preservation restoration, they're trying to kind of group that together, but it really is two separate. That they're trying to touch.
What is?
Sorry,
What is what's the medical engineer? What is? medical company?
Yes.
Do they like build ambulances?
Yeah. So they, correct.
Oh, okay.
And then what do we need, Mr. Jake?
So he loves building ambulances?
CEO, vast knowledge of the industry. Same with board of directors, they're all
Okay.
from the property preservation industry.
Hey, you know some Bailey.
The president are also longtime in the single, the president that, so we're focused on single family rentals. The president there has been in,
You talk to Jay,
for CBRE as a president of facilities.
BEV advanced plan, we talked BEV.
Rentals, and a lot of property maintenance.
What would you say their
Visionary
personality
vehicles.
is?
Construction. So think of some of these.
I don't know, BEVs definitely electric.
Are you ready?
Actually.
B. Yeah.
One minute.
What is the BK?
Very,
You ready?
direct.
And you'll take that extra minute if you're off.
Wow,
Okay.
You did 2 more minutes.
Incredibly
Okay.
knowledgeable.
See your
well
minutes and raise you.
I don't want to
There's 2 or 3 phones always.
constantly keep plugged in.
But also,
BEV?
Like, he is like.
blunt.
Yeah, it's like, it's.
And then why did we choose this? Why did you choose this?
I chose this company because it has both a very long
Yeah, but a
tenure
plug-in is
as well as
required.
startups.
Yeah.
The SFR and commercial exterior are
BEV.
startups. I started with them 2.5 years ago. They started.
But then.
So you have this
by
30-year
like the
plus,
definition of
and then you have
word,
all the
you still have
startups.
to Keep it plugged in for it to
So I
work.
thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So they are startups, so then they should have a bunch of spirit, but then are we?
I
as
got it
we-
all back.
The board of directors is over everybody, which I think is very adaptive. You think of these really good.
Like, I understand how you're EVs,
It's the entrepreneur.
why did you choose this company? That's always hard.
So that what really happened was during that, there's a moratorium where.
That's what my.
Could not focus on
That
The
business.
synergies.
That
synergizes with
So they
our idea.
immediately sold, PE, sold it to another PE, just like, wow.
Steven's knowledge of,
Yeah,
Steven's knowledge of the
Let's
company and the
keep it
synergies between
small,
our
because it's a
concepts.
trying model, it's always been around. It's gonna still be around, but what can we
What
do
did
to
I say? I said
support it and start?
Steven's familiar.
So far was created. Created, and then we're saying, okay, what can we do to blend the synergies together?
Automotive innovation.
And from a PE standpoint, I think, okay, can I sell these individually? Well, then it's small. It will remain small pieces, but if I can combine them all together, the EBITDA is much greater, right? You can sell this huge company that has multi-functions for much more than you can sell the individual.
Apples, like late,
So if you look
but
at from
like.
an investor, you're like, yeah, let's develop it, comes in some synergies there. So
Apple's
it's not
late
that
to
we really
everything,
Sell it.
but they.
Instead of 200 million, it's 3, 4, 500 million.
Right,
Look
it's
at
the
all this
apple.
Opportunity, this growth, look at the
Late,
strategy,
we
look
do
at
it
the markets that
best.
we're in. Subcontractor, blah, 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 blah.
That's what I'm-
They can cash out.
Flop.
So,
Exactly.
you guys
It was like Apple's version of like the Google. Or Amazon, yeah, right?
And
Real estate acquisition.
Yeah,
all of the above.
yeah,
Never
yeah.
had acclimated. Wow.
if you were to
Yeah.
say, well, I
They had a
want
couple
to
actors.
renovate my
They had a
kitchen.
couple files.
So,
Yeah.
got it?
You good?
I'm still.
Let's 3 minutes.
If they're fine, if they're good, then.
They're good.
Oh, Okay, who's presenting here?
Yeah.
I'm going.
Asa,
Yeah,
go ahead.
okay.
By the way, before you do that, why did I do this little exercise here? Why am I not letting Jason or Steven present?
Make sure that we all know what we're
You
doing.
need to all swing this company because Steven may not come with an idea, Jason may not come with the idea, and the rest of you are not gonna come with the idea because you don't know the company. And Jason and Steven probably said, I'll take care of this assignment.
That's what you think of us?
I thought this is where you're gonna say, I didn't do it, but
No, I actually did.
okay, so you really do need to swim in those companies. And we'll do a lot more exercises, but okay, so Asa, you're.
Yeah. So the company that we selected is called MCS, stands for Mortgage Contracting Services. And basically MCS does property preservation and restoration on residential properties for big real estate acquisition firms. And I think that the industry overall, you could describe it as real estate. But I think that there's a property management component. I also think that there's a construction component. Financials does 200 million in revenue annually, 25.
How many people are,
Gotta defer.
how many people in the company?
There's about 400.
400, okay.
25 to 30% margins on that
Gross or
revenue.
net?
I'm gonna say gross.
Gross, 30%. Okay,
Main
so,
expenses,
yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
that's, I was about to ask.
Main expenses are subcontractors to do the actual construction. And
So that's
restoration.
still goes in the COGS, cost of
Yes,
goods
yeah.
sold. Okay, so that's still before the 30%.
Yeah.
So the actual people who do the work, materials.
Actual people, and then the employees are the other main expense.
Okay.
The
Do you use subcontractors to do all the work?
I think, yes, I don't think, I think that.
By the way, I'm asking now not to check proficiency. I'm asking because I wanna know.
Cause I don't know.
Subcontractor part, and then there's a self-perform part.
Okay,
Right now, I'd say like 80-20, so 80% of the time it's subcontracted. The other 20%, which is newer, is a self-perform arm. Instead of just contracting people out, what if we have technicians go out and do it? Could we gain more margin that way?
so how are the 400 people kind of split? job functions?
It's really like 300 in property preservation and 100 in restoration. That's really how that is by far the highest. So the property preservation will do 150 million this year, we'll do 50 million. But then it's anticipated to grow much faster though. So next year we'll probably do 80 to 100 million. Hopefully they'll do 150 plus and the company will grow that way.
Okay. I'll stop you at this point because I'm gonna give you another assignment. Actually, we're gonna continuing with the content and then I'll give you the other assignment. Okay, who's presenting here? JW, yes.
Okay, so our company we chose was Toyota Motors, specifically focusing.
Where's the headquarters of Toyota, Toyota Americas?
It's Plano. It's okay, it's Plano.
Yes, I
I was like, man, I really hope this. Yes, Plano.
Yes. Right
Okay.
up the road.
Yes, awesome. So, founded in 1937. There are 350,000 employees globally with 54,000
in the States. It's primarily an automotive manufacturer, but also focuses on financial services as well as financing firms and whatnot. In 2024, fiscal year 2024, they did 2.8 million in not 2.8 million, but sold 2.8 million cars with revenue of $120 billion and then operating income of 3.7. It's just in America, just in America. Sales. They are also the number one manufacturer or the largest manufacturer of automotive sales globally. Just retaking it from Volkswagen, I believe, here this year. Last year.
Stop me for a second. Is MCS public? No. Is Toyota public?
Yes.
What's their market cap? No,
I don't. No, it's our market, yeah.
don't need it now.
No, I'll know it next time, maybe.
327 billion.
How much?
327 billion.
327 billion. What is Tesla's market cap?
Way more than that.
Interesting.
824.
Billion dollars.
Yeah.
How many cars does Tesla make? How many cars does Toyota make?
Way less than Toyota.
Hey,
That brings
isn't that amazing?
to our next point. We focus on operational excellence.
Okay.
As our, competitive strategy versus Tesla, which does not focus on operational excellence.
What does Tesla focus on?
You
You remember the three? I actually have a slide with that. You remember the three vectors?
yes, I don't.
You said Toyota is in operational excellence. Where's Tesla?
I want to say quality, but like luxury.
They're all on the same vector. What's the name of that vector? Anyone? Best product. It's best product. It's not that Toyota has bad products, but that's not Toyota's strategy. Toyota's strategy is not, we're gonna come up with something completely crazy. Okay,
To go back to Tesla, it's more luxury electronic vehicles. That's what they're kind of in.
Yep.
Whereas Toyota is quality price, right? Their strategy is quality price.
that has been, by the way, for a very long time, the mantra, the strategy of many Japanese companies. Japanese companies focused on quality. Sony used to be something else before. What did Sony used to be before? Today, if you buy a Sony, why do you buy a Sony? Because it's quality. It's a Japanese quality, but it didn't used to be that way. What was it? Why would you buy a Sony? Okay, I'm going to, before most of you were born, what was it? Price. It's not why you buy Sony. That's why you would buy,
Everyone wanted it.
what?
It was popular.
Why was it popular?
First mover advantage,
What?
first mover advantage.
First mover advantage. They were an innovative company. First Walkman, first radio transistor, first boombox, first flat TV. They were first. You know what happened? What changed? When did when did Sony change from being an innovative company? The reason you would buy is because they would have the first of everything. Why? What happened that made them change all of a sudden we're a quality company? The introduction of Apple, nope.
Okay, that was just.
What do you think happened? You probably don't know, but try and guess. What do you think happened?
Some financial issues. No idea.
Well, what would change the culture of a company that from being a
New CEO.
new CEO, the old CEO was an engineer. The first CEO was an engineer. He came up with crazy ideas. Then came an MBA. And he said, let's look at the numbers. Let's make the numbers work. And they changed from being a first in everything to a quality, price, operational excellence. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to all know the company that you're in, inside and out. not just Steven and Jason. My hope for the end of this course is that every one of those teams get to the point where probably Jason and Steven feel comfortable going to someone that you're gonna have to identify, because that's one of the assignments, that you're gonna have to identify and say, we have an idea. That's what I want you to get out of this class, okay? I want you to go through the process of that. Maybe at the end, they're not going to go with, we have an idea, but that's my goal, okay? Okay, here's something to know about ideas. There was a study that was done and I could not find this study replicated anytime later. This study was from 97. This study is almost 30 years old and there was no second study that was done since then. Definitely not to this magnitude. They just reviewed submissions of ideas in companies, in different companies. And they really started with, you know, when you file a patent, the first thing you do is you file a disclosure. Here is what I want the patent to be in. The company decides, yep, that's a good idea. We're going to file it as a patent. They go on. So first step is ideas, then idea submission. This is where we file for patent. Reshaping, we're starting to change it, modify it. We go to a small research and development project. And, you know, we're gonna put 3 people on it. Remember the story with USB 3. 3 engineers working on it, except nobody knew that they were working on it. Significant development at that point, and so on. Major development initiative, commercial launch, and finally a product that's economically profitable. Look at how many ideas we started with. 3,000. 3,000 ideas start to get one that's commercially available, that's 0.03% of ideas ever make it to the market. So, again, the goal of this, if you're a startup, you better start with, you're starting here if you're a startup. Well, actually not here, you're starting here if you're a startup. Hopefully you did well enough to have an idea that is viable, that will make the last 59% and be commercially successful. There's a reason why over 90% of startups fail, because their ideas are actually up there where another company would not launch them. Where do ideas come from? Why are we going over this? Because you need to come up with an idea. So where do they come from? They come from 4 different sources: change, pain, history, and outside. We're not going to talk about all of them. We're going to talk about change. And you read about grand challenges. You read about engineering challenges. You read about different trends. So when you look at time and you look at the impact, we're going to start with politics. Politics, in politics, not necessarily only in the context of, you know, Republicans, Democrats, or White House or Congress. Politics in terms of political shifts, nationally, even locally, or globally. Can you give me an example of when a political change, even globally, created opportunities?
Fall of the Soviet Union.
Fall of the Soviet, what was the opportunity?
Capitalism was allowed into Russia. So there were many.
Who has an opportunity when that happened? Construction companies to build walls.
Yeah.
Take out debris.
McDonald's is like the most famous example that I can think of. McDonald's immediately entered.
New market.
Yeah.
New market opened. That's a very good, any other suggestion? I'm gonna throw a political change. I'm gonna call it a political change, 9/11. 9/11 actually create opportunities.
So,
What?
USA.
PSA,
And then all of the innovation that came around screening and checkpoints, we probably wouldn't have.
which works very well, the screening and all, because as it turns out, about 70% of guns that go on planes actually do go on planes and go unnoticed. So that works well.
Yeah, like travel size things or.
3 ounce containers. Small hairspray, by the way, great in, when you throw into a fire.
Yeah.
Do you ever throw hairspray into fire?
I would never do that. That's why women live longer than men.
I used to take my daughters to, when they were younger, to something that's called Indian Princesses. It's a YMCA program. And at night, the girls would go to sleep and the dads would build a fire. And then we would see what happens when we throw different things. Hairspray, the best. Okay, I digress. Travel size containers. Political changes can make, but by the way, sometimes it happens the other way around. An opportunity closes because of political changes.
COVID,
What?
like COVID.
COVID is not political. It's not a political shift of powers globally or locally. COVID was, what was COVID? How would you call it if it's not political? The what? Environmental, yeah.
The vaccines, wouldn't that be politics? The vaccine, government funding the vaccines was kind of political.
I would agree with regulations and masks.
Yeah, there is an element, you can see that nothing, by the way, I'm gonna show you 4 different sources and you're gonna see that they're never just one on its own. Okay, next would be economy. The economy changes over time. That creates opportunities as well, opportunities for spending. The next one is nature. Now, sometimes nature does have jumps. So, let's assume that COVID was something that happened natural, bird flu, that creates opportunities, but that typically is pretty, I would call it soft. What would be an aggressive trend line? What's missing here? That's really aggressive. That everything here you see, politics makes step changes. All of a sudden, bang, something happened. 9/11 happened, bang, a whole bunch of regulations. Or COVID, if we talk about the response to COVID, political. Economy goes like this. Nature, global warming. Where is global warming going to offer an opportunity?
Renewable energies.
Renewable energy, that's an opportunity. Air conditioning. I have a friend that always tells me, he gets annoyed with me when I tell him that I'm not worried about global warming because I think that we will catch up because it doesn't happen like this. I mean, it happens over a very long period of time. And I believe that we're gonna catch up and that's not what's gonna kill us. We're gonna kill each other because of the level of political polarization that we have and look at what's happening in the world. So nature moves relatively slowly. What moves very, very aggressively that creates opportunities? Technology. No, society. Okay, society is another one. Before I get to technology, what do changes in society mean? Give me an example of changes in society.
Industrial revolution, one of them, or
Industrial revolution. I would probably, it's kind of a combination. I would probably put it more on technology than on society.
Cultural trends, be like retail even, what people wear.
What people consume, what people wear, that's society. The what? Online shopping, yeah, consumer behavior. Diversity initiatives. Right, well, regulations would probably fall more into politics than to society. But society has to create it first for politics to kick in. And then the most aggressive one is technology. I'm not going to force you, any of the teams, to find a technology trend that would disrupt your businesses, but I'm going to assume, or I'm going to suggest that that's probably where you would have the #1 opportunity in technology. Okay, I'm going to skip this and you read, I'm going to assume that you read the grand challenges and we're going to be looking at that in the next assignment we'll do here in class. Moore's Law, anybody can tell me what Moore's Law is? What is Moore's Law? Who heard the phrase Moore's Law? You heard it, what is it?
It's the computer one.
It's the-
Doubles.
kind of.
Doubles every, like doubles every halves or something like that. It's exponentially faster. Can't remember.
Exponentially faster, okay, I'll buy that. It's funny how you can ask like 100 people and nobody would actually be able to tell you what Moore's Law really is. This diagram here is Moore's Law. This was drawn. So this comes from a magazine called Electronics that was published in July of 1965. April 1965. And you can see that this was actually something that he drew. By the way, you see that the letters and the numbers are very clear and I got this diagram with permission from the Intel Museum. Gordon Moore was one of the founders of Intel Semiconductor. And the letters here, there used to be, I don't know, Jason, you might be the only person who remembers, there used to be like a stencil made of plastic that you could put a pencil through to write letters in a consistent way. That's how he drew this. What he said was in 1959, Jack Kilby of Texas Instruments at the time created the first transistor, electronic transistor. Up until that point, they used bulbs. So he created the first transistor. And then in 1962, they managed to put 8 transistors on one piece of silicon. And he said, well, that's 2 to the power of 3 if this is logarithmic. Then in 1963, they managed to put something like 20. And then in 1964, they managed to put over 30. And then in 1965, they managed to put 64, give or take, transistors on a piece of silicon. So in 1965, in April, he writes this article and he draws this and he says, look what happened. If we put this on a logarithmic scale, so this is linear time, this is logarithmic, 2 to the power of, so this is 1, 2 to the power of 0 is 1, 2 to the power of 3 is 8, and so on. And he says, look at what I got here, a line. Is there any reason to think that that line is going to stop? The title of that article was that by 1975, we will have 65,536, actually he only said 65,000 transistors on one piece of silicon. Any idea how many transistors we have on one piece of silicon today, give or take? Anybody? About, I would say, 12 billion. I want to show you the power of exponential growth. Take a piece of paper. Let's assume that it's printer paper. Fold it once. Fold it twice. 3 times. 4 times. Okay, let's say that we have a much bigger piece of paper that allows me to fold it more. Okay. And if it starts resisting, it's okay if we cut the corner so that we can continue and fold it. If you fold it, printer paper, if you fold it 50 times, how thick do you think it's going to be? Kind of order of magnitude.
I've seen something that before.
Thick enough to reach the moon. Anybody else has another idea? I only said 50 times.
Listen, the math is there. You're doubling it. It's
Yeah, but
the-
50 times, I'm already at 4.
Hey, I'm not the
5.
person who's heard this, okay?
Asa, how thick? What?
What?
Food.
12 inches.
Sam. The moon, you want?
No,
No.
maybe 6 inches, I'm gonna have that.
6 inches, Eliza,
24
24 what?
inches.
Inches. Foot. Really good. Half an inch.
Maybe.
About an inch. You wanna know who was the closest?
The inch
Inch.
really goes up.
2/3 of the distance between the Earth and the Sun.
Did I
Not the moon,
see-
the sun.
Oh, the sun.
The
Okay.
Sun.
Oh, so I was
2/3
closest.
of the distance between the Earth and the Sun. Just so that you know, a pack of printer paper has 500 pages. 500 pages is 1 inch. 500 pages is 2 to the power of 9. 2 to the power of 10 is 2 inches. 2 to the power of 11 is 4 inches. 2 to the power of 12 is 8 inches. Do you see where I'm going with that? 2/3 of the distance between the Earth and the Sun. Believe it or not, JW was the closest one, and that's probably because he's left-handed. That is the power of change, of technological change, because technological change, if we take Moore's law and we continue to draw that line that he stopped in 1975, we're in 2024, we're 50 years beyond that line. We're at dozens of billions of transistors on a piece of silicon. Think about what's available to you. We're gonna go back to talk about AI a little later today. So I encourage you, but not forcing you, to think about, because that's what you're gonna have to think about, what technology trend will affect your industries. Not forcing you to do that. If you come up with, well, there's a political change that will affect our industry or our company specifically, that's fine. You come up with there's a natural change, that's fine. Just keep in mind, nature, politics is a little different, but nature, consumer behavior and so on, those change slowly. Technology changes like this. Okay? Questions? I'm gonna skip that story. And who read the article about the Gartner hype cycle? That's one. 12.5%. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you a 3-minute video, okay? Say yes. Oh, no, I didn't click on the right. This is what I want to click. So. So. It showed that it wasn't running anymore. Okay, so. This is an example of their AI, the AI hype cycle. I want to repeat what she said or how it works. Eliza, you with us? Okay. How it works, it starts with there is a reason why something is available. What do you think was the reason that all of a sudden AI became available? AI, when I ask you what's the biggest trend, I think 5 of you identified AI. What made AI all of a sudden available? What do you think? What? There is remember what she said, the innovation trigger is when something all of a sudden, there is a discovery, there is, all of a sudden the door opens. Something is available.
Was it, OpenAI, was it like OpenAI letting everyone piggyback off of?
Before,
ChatGPT.
what made OpenAI available?
Internet?
Internet?
I've heard
Internet
that-
has
yeah,
existed
that's been-
since 1977.
Yeah, I've heard that AI's been around for a long time. It's just reached its form that we see it in now.
Is it a?
What made
Is
it?
it NVIDIA's chips? Like
Computing
computer
power?
chips that allow them to compute better?
Computing power.
Yeah.
You're both saying the same things. You're being more specific. NVIDIA, and NVIDIA, by the way, if you would have invested 2 years ago in NVIDIA stock, today you're going to be making a lot of money. By the way, you want to know what the best investment would have been? January of 2020. Stock price, stock ticker. Any idea? Okay, we have to write here. What? Stock ticker. Zoom. In 3 months, if you would have invested $1 in Zoom, you would have made how much do you think? $10,000. In 3 months, every dollar becomes 10,000. Every $1,000 becomes. This is relatively simple math. So. $10 million. No, actually, it would not have made, it would not have made $10 million for a very simple reason, and that is once that stock hit $1.5 million dollars, the stock exchange, this was actually an over-the-counter. This is not the company Zoom. This is Zoom, actually, their stock ticker is different than Zoom. This was another Chinese company traded over the counter for about 10 cents per stock. And people thought that they were buying Zoom, the company, and they actually stopped trading in that stock because it was confusing to people. But yes, if you would have invested in NVIDIA, this would have been a lot more realistic investment because of AI. So the innovation trigger here was the availability of technology. All of a sudden, processing power, NVIDIA chips. NVIDIA, when they started, what they did was graphics chips. They still do graphics chips, but they're essentially graphics chips or graphics processors, GPUs. They require, they need to be able to do a lot of calculations in a very short period of time. Not so much data calculations as just general calculations and or simpler calculations. And as it turns out, that's what's needed for artificial intelligence. So that was the innovation trigger. Then we get up there. Do we see ChatGPT anywhere here? Does anybody see ChatGPT? Generative AI, right here. Generative AI, ChatGPT. So you can see the well, that's, I'm sorry, I take it back. This is 2021. Where's ChatGPT today? Where do you think it is? I'll remind you what this cycle, the entire cycle is. It starts here, it gets to the peak of inflated expectations, and this is where it can do everything, including curing cancer. And then it starts going down to the trough of disillusionment, where we realize that they actually can't. And then something that I don't know if you noticed, a lot of technologies actually disappear here. They die here. Because we can't find something that they can do. I was involved with one of those technologies. It was called ultra wideband. It was very short range wireless. And the whole idea was that it's going to replace the fast USB cables because it can run very, very fast. So let me ask you this. If we can replace the USB cable with a wireless alternative, why? That's running at the same speed. Why would that not take off? Why would people still prefer the USB cables over that? Yes, it's more expensive. Let's say that it wasn't more expensive.
Be freaking out about the radiation that hits between them, like five people.
Could be. I don't think that's the main reason. Sam, you're about to say something.
Well, is it just like people tend to stick to things that they know? Is that it? Like you,
That
I don't
probably played a role. I don't think so, because we shifted. I mean, we shifted to this one day. So yeah, consumer trends do change over time.
Was there a lack of like advertisement for it or consumer awareness? People just didn't know about it?
No,
There's not
I
a need
think,
for it.
what?
There's not a need to do that. There's not a need to go to the wireless option.
But you're using a USB cable today.
You're using it, but you may not need to be in a wireless type of option, right? Because
It's not, it could be like, because you're not running your USB cable very far. So like, I don't know if that,
No, it's the same length, same distance.
but it's not tethered though, right? It's wireless,
It's wireless, yes, completely wireless. So
but it's still, but it only goes the same distance.
your phone connects with your computer, same speed as USB, except that no cable. Why would that not be cut? Why do we?
Problem?
What?
Can it solve the problem?
It didn't solve a new problem? Well, do you like cables to carry cables around? No, we don't. That's the whole idea. You don't need to carry the cable.
Phone just catch up to the computer to where you don't need to connect it.
No. Let's assume that that's simple.
What about the loss of value from the absence of the USB?
What's the loss of value? Yeah, I would, there are a lot of technologies that make other technologies obsolete.
What about the not wanting to adapt devices to change?
Not profitable. No. Liza, come on. Save us. Do you use the USB cable? Do you ever connect your phone with a USB cable to your computer? No.
Unless I need to charge it,
What?
unless I need to charge it, like if I don't have something that I can.
Wait,
plug in.
you use the USB cable to charge?
Maybe.
Can you do it with the wireless connection?
Yeah.
We just lost one big function of the USB cable, and that is it can't charge. Wireless cannot charge. That's why it failed. It can do everything except nobody thought, I told you were gonna save us. We just forgot that we use the USB cable, number one, to charge, number two, to connect, number one, to charge. Some technologies just die here. We're gonna do something before, I have it in the later slide, but we're gonna do it now. Who has access to ChatGPT on their computer like right now? Okay, Eliza is going to save us again. Eliza, ask ChatGPT, do you ever use the voice function of ChatGPT to read it to you? You know how to do it?
Just tell it to read it to me.
No, there's like a little button next to the answer that you get. Yeah? Yeah. Okay, You ready? Put it on speaker so we will hear. Ask ChatGPT to spell strawberry. Did it spell it correctly? Ask, now play it so that we will hear what it said.
You might have.
Asa, do you see where the button is to?
No. No. I've never had it.
Me either, never had a team
Um,
either. I feel really dumb putting this in
I don't,
chat.
does anybody have a computer here that, I don't know why you,
You pay
oh,
for
you're in 3.5, go to O, or O.
Oh, I need to log in.
Oh, so you're not logged in, that's,
That's good. She doesn't. have it
anybody,
go.
anybody more ready with ChatGPT right now?
Sorry, I don't use
She
it for all
does
my
things-
homework.
Yeah, she does it the old fashioned.
Schools.
Okay? It's worthwhile.
Let me see if I maybe.
Okay, here we go.
Okay,
Uh,
spell strawberry.
Oh, just said strawberry.
No, that's, you said.
Okay, here we go.
Okay,
The correct spelling is strawberry.
spell
Go spell it.
spell the word strawberry.
Okay, there we go.
Read it.
Strawberry is spelled STRABERRY.
It said it wrong.
Strawberry is spelled STRABERRY.
It spelled it wrong.
Oh.
It's not saying the W.
missing the-
Listen,
Not saying the
Listen.
two R. Ask how
Strawberry
many
is spelled
R's.
STRABERRY.
there's no W. It doesn't even read the W.
Ask how many
I got a
R's.
dumb chat GPT. Many. What do we have?
Before you hit enter, how many R's are in strawberry?
2.
3.
Oh, 3.
Look at the word, Eliza.
What do you want me to ask it?
How many R's?
Here it is spelled out STRABERRY.
Yeah.
What did it say?
2.
There are 2 R's in the word strawberry.
We all agree.
See, we're in sync.
Tell her that she's wrong.
That's how I know
Tell
this
her
is
that
my
she's
chat.
wrong and there are 3. What did she say?
I apologize.
I apologize for any confusion. The word strawberry has 2 R's. One in the middle and one near the end.
Try and
I
convince
get a
it.
dumb chat GPT.
That's a bug actually that they have. But it shows you that, you know, maybe we're not here yet. Was I going to say about AI? Anybody familiar with the phrase I forgot his name. Turing, Alan Turing, the Turing test. You know what the Turing test is? You know?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's basically this concept that there's certain rules or whatever, I don't know the criteria, but technology or some kind of robot needs to meet before it can be considered sentient, right?
Not really, no. Turing test.
So the Turing test has
You
to
write
do with,
software,
it's a long time ago I studied this, but it has to do with the language,
yes?
whether it can be, a machine can be built around it. Something like
A
that.
machine can what?
Whether the language, whether a machine can understand the language or something, based on the language, whether it can be programmed or a machine can be built, something like that.
We're getting there. Alan Turing, by the way, does anybody know who Alan Turing is? Alan Turing is the father of the electronic computer. And that happened during World War II. Alan Turing was in a place in England called Bletchley Park. And they worked on deciphering the German and Japanese code with a machine that was called Enigma. And the only way to do that was he built a computer. By the way, there's a great movie. What, you know the name of the movie? It's sometime.
Benedict Cumberbatch, isn't it?
What?
Yeah, I've seen it. Really good.
And that tells you the story of eventually that machine actually was able to decipher the Enigma code, and it played a major role. By the way, another person who was there with Alan Turing was a person by the name of Ian Fleming. Does that name ring a bell? Ian Fleming?
He wrote the James Bond book.
James Bond. He is the author of James, the creator of the James Bond character. And Alan Turing, back in 1950, said, there's going to be a point in time where a computer would be able to use language to the point that they will confuse a person to believe they're talking to another person. The test is that after 3 minutes, no, after 5 minutes, after 5 minutes of communications, the computer, 30% of the people listening would believe that they just heard a person speaking and not a computer. I, by the way, tried it with ChatGPT, or you're welcome to try it yourselves. I tried it with ChatGPT. I asked, do you think you're going to pass the Turing test? ChatGPT's response was yes. And I said, okay, let's start. Oh, it said, ask me any question. I said, okay, let's start. Are you human? And it said, no, I'm artificial intelligence created by OpenAI. I said, you just failed. The whole idea is that you're going to pretend to be human. The response I got from ChatGPT was, I'm so sorry, let's try again. Ask me any question. I asked, are you human? It said, yes. I said, how do you know that you're human? And it said, by the way, again, feel free to try it on your own computer. Not now, but how do you know that you're human? It said, I have feelings, I have emotions, I behave, I react just like any other human. I don't have any reason to think that I'm not human. And this is where it killed me. It asked, what makes you think that you're human? And first, I didn't know how to answer that. And then I said, what if I told you that I'm actually artificial intelligence? The response I got was, well, you seem to be human to me, so I guess I don't need to care.
It's pretty deep.
This is where we are today. Now, the question is, what do we do with that? Where does it work? So you all, well, not all of you, 5 of you identified artificial intelligence as one of the major trends. And you may want to think about, what does that mean? Now, artificial intelligence, Sam, did you say that artificial intelligence actually existed a long time ago? You or Asa? That artificial intelligence, to me, artificial intelligence is what started when we told the computer, we didn't tell the computer 5 times 3 is 15. Oh, I should have asked you how much is 5 times 3. But 5 times 3 is 15. We didn't tell the computer 5 times 3 is 15. We said, when you need to multiply 2 numbers, A and B, what you do is you use B as a counter and you add A as many times as in B and you get the answer. That was artificial intelligence. We didn't tell the computer 5 times 3 is 15. What we said was, this is how you multiply. And it grew from there. So really, artificial intelligence, just like you said, it wasn't something that all of a sudden happened right now, but right now it kind of broke. And I think that it really broke with ChatGPT. When you talk about adoption cycle of new technologies, we typically look at how long does it take to adopt a new technology. If this is a technology that has subscribers like ChatGPT does, how long does it take to reach 1 million subscribers? How long do you think it took ChatGPT to reach 1 million subscribers? 5 days. From 0 to 1 million subscribers in 5 days. Okay. Okay, this is the strawberry slide. When I looked at the discussion that you held on in our discussion panel on trends that companies are missing, I saw outdated technologies and switching costs. Switching costs are typically Not so much a trend that a company is missing, switching cost is a reason why they don't adopt new trends. Work-life balance, remote work, distributed enterprise. So those were answers from three of you, three separate. One of you said work-life balance, remote work, distributed enterprise. So tell me about that. What is the trend here? Where is it coming from? Where is it going? Who agrees that this is a trend? Work-life balance, focus on work-life balance. Specifically, you know what, let's specifically talk about remote work. Who thinks that remote work is a trend today? Yep. Okay. What does it mean?
Ability to work outside of a defined space.
Company is no longer a building. Okay. Does that apply to everyone? All companies? So if you're a company now that says, let's say that all 8 of you are in a company, and you say, there is a trend here of remote work. So today we're going to close our facility and everybody goes home to work from home. Is that a good decision to make? Why not? Doesn't work for every company. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to split into your 2 teams. I'm going to give you 10 minutes this time. Maybe a little more. 10 minutes. And in 10 minutes, I want you to come up with a set of rules for your company, for your specific companies, MCS, Toyota, on how we deploy remote work. Set of rules. 10 minutes minus 10 seconds.
You spend more than 6 hours a day. You said it's for up to
Yeah, it goes by 10 years, so if you work for the company for at least 2 years. Go to 4 day or 1 day out of 4 days in, and then based on 2 years.
6 hours, right? I feel like that was 6 hours.
So very unique story. So we had this huge corporate office
Yeah,
and
so you can-
at one point every seat, and then pandemic hit, and they figured out how to do it from remote. And so we like went out to corporate office and recently.
I'm saying, like, yeah, say if you're like running the.
So we are, yeah,
Sure, I'm thinking
Um,
non-manufacturing.
yeah,
6 hours. a day.
everybody can be remote.
That's
The
out of an 8
choice
hours.
to
That's
be
long,
in the
so that's 2
office
hours.
is because of unions of
You're spending 6
leadership,
hours a day.
not demand business.
at the plant.
So like for a while, I've been hybrid most of the time just because
They utilize the material that can be taken home.
controller with the
Yeah, that's
CFO.
what, yeah, that's the same thing I'm saying, the other way around, I'm saying, if you only utilize the computer for 6 hours, there's no
But
need
it's
to have.
not because it's demanded to be in the office. We're not tethered to anything. It was just convenience. So if something were to happen, like one day we lost power, they let everybody know. So that's just what we know.
Yeah.
So,
Or like, you also do
When you
client.
say
facing,
like half
you
the
interact
office
with
is like
customers
going
on a daily basis.
like you're talking about
You may have to.
just like that space, you're not talking about the employees.
Yeah.
You're saying there's only space.
We have to be plant every day, 5 days. a week.
So you're able to do the same job.
everybody is able
but
to do
everybody's still
the same job.
Gotcha.
If they opted to let go of the whole corporate office, it wouldn't change a thing.
Criteria for eligibility.
So they figured out how, well, it was convenience. And I think that's why a lot of people go back to the office, just convenience, right?
We need to
Like-
define what the eligibility is.
Like when I worked in corporate finance and as the pandemic hit, it was
6
all
hours.
remote. Then as it was over, you started seeing like 10% in the office, 75% hybrid, the rest remote. And it's shifting. And it's just for convenience. They want,
Well, I think more people that are remote now are kind of like, a lot of stuff that you're reading is people feel isolated and they don't like it because they don't like having no interaction. I think for a while, people liked think it's
Yeah, if you're like building,
now the trend
yeah.
is like.
But eventually, the idea will be it's fully autonomous. And those people could be, they're not actually on site. You said like QA, QC people on site.
Swinging a
Who are
little bit back
observing
to
the-
like.
You're observing everything you put together.
I've seen.
And those functional groups could then move to like systems engineers who are monitoring
Too much interaction
autonomous,
simulation.
the autonomous
Just like the
procedure
job
of the assembly.
But if you want to take a break, this would be a good time to take a break.
Yes,
I mean, there's people in our office that just have it.
I'm gonna say if the only criteria,
Yeah, I can work anywhere, but I
the
can
only,
work specifically, so I can feel like I'm at work, not feel like I'm still in my own room or something, like, and never going home. And then you feel like you live in the place that you work. It's like you-
What's the people like when you're at home and like 9 o'clock at night? Oh, I sit all day. 9 o'clock at night, I mean, I might get a text from the president, like, hey, real quick, what was, or on the weekend, like my CFO was like, well, what are the out-of-period costs for all your businesses? What, someone from PE called me.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of feel obligated, right? When you're in an office space, when you leave, you leave. So,
you need to be available between.
Sounds like we've kind of accomplished this. I guess.
yeah, I mean, we can't be
Of
talking about
flat
just,
standards
Also too, it does help. with
Business
injuries,
hours.
right?
in this time zone.
The, or nature of the business.
yeah, so.
That's
Certification.
all we get. Just
And they'll call and say, I need a lawn mower, I need something secured.
Yeah.
But we're not going to do it, so they
How
need
many
to charge
hours available?
contractors, so no one needs.
5 hours?
For the same thing, right? Like, well, I need a renovation, turn done. So it is more construction based,
Yeah.
but still,
Yeah.
they're calling us, we get a subcontractor.
I'm
So at
pretty
no
much
point
thinking
is
these
there,
What I had in my last job.
like,
they-
do we
they-
need to do something? It's all coordination work. So yes, we do have people in the field, technicians, but then they're not at the office, they're in the field.
But they're, are they part of your company though?
Yeah. So we probably have, I don't know, 100 different technicians, and project managers, but they're not based in, like, corporate office in Louisville. No one's based in, Louisville, because it's not needed there.
You might bring.
They're in a different hour.
So I
Well,
guess.
different. So it's actually in the morning, it's their night.
Sorry.
I'm saying he might bring, cause
Yep.
I feel like he was. The question was like, you're tired. So I know I'm.
8 to 5 higher.
Work from home. I think most companies out there, like, there's some element of it that can be done remotely. But
Yeah.
I thought this company was just corporate, right? It's not just outsourcing.
Well, we do have that self-performing function, so we do have like a market director and project managers and technicians in a market.
And you don't have a head.
They're not related to, I mean, they're not in the corporate
Do
office,
this.
like they come to the corporate office and do their stuff and
The
leave,
time zone,
they're in Phoenix, they're in,
but you don't
And they're part of that
Portland.
400.
CEO lives.
so the property preservation is.
Essentially what it is. That's
Subcontracted.
kind of like where
The
the highest
SFR
ranking
side
employee
is
of
the
the
one that
company
has some self-perform. Now, if
resides.
you look
That's
at the
time zone you're in.
website, they're gonna try to blend it all together, because it can be blended.
Right. I see.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say
It's
yes.
theirs. Give me some.
I guess.
Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna say yes.
Just very for the departments. we don't think all.
So can you
Different dynamics.
restate your question, please? I'll make sure that it was right.
You decided to adopt remote work.
So if you're gonna do, so
Create
if
a
you're
set
gonna
of
do all
rules.
manufacturing people.
Set of rules.
Set of rules.
What about the, like, president of the manufacturers?
Everybody.
That dude's
come back.
sitting in a C-suite somewhere
No remote,
in
no
meetings.
remote work.
the entire day, just staring at a screen, taking Zoom calls. He's not going on the floor, like getting his hands dirty or anything.
You set of rules, you have to be available for meetings.
He's the head of manufacturing. He's the department lead.
I would imagine we could
So
stay
you
up
have to
till
be-
3.
and we have teams, and so you can always see. them.
She would also somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, all
What
of
about
them,
the
8:30 for 5.
manufacturing? Whoever sees all
Within your
of,
time.
all of like Dallas, like all the Dallas like service centers.
I should probably be.
When,
I need to respond.
yeah, within a certain time. Also in meetings, actually one of our rules, which we don't.
So I'm going straight to, if you spend more than 6 hours on your
Camera,
front of the
everybody has to
computer a
be on camera.
day, you're eligible.
Oh, yeah.
That's just one of our, people hate it, because I'm always like, especially when I'm in the office, I'm on camera because I'm constantly on camera, so I'll call someone, they'll be like,
I think it's
flip on their camera, their chairs, and I stand
I
like.
think
I
it's weird
find
when
it saying,
people-
if you work in manufacturing, even if you're the president, you gotta come in.
Especially.
That pissed me
There's
off.
one
I was
one
like,
person's on camera,
I
that person's
was
on
like,
You
I
can
said,
get-
I swear by the guy who runs manufacturing,
I
he's probably
think-
never
And
building
it-
things.
it
before.
changes the,
He's probably business school in fact.
personally.
So he's gonna see his like other three members of the C-suite working from like 4 to 4. This dude's in the office and playing, he's gonna be pretty pissed off. He might go somewhere else.
Cooperating.
It's
So, so work from home. Certain radius, so,
Then you would.
No, it's remote work, it's not work from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
correct. So we're very
That
reactive.
defeats the purpose of
We have to
remote
wait.
work. I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
We still need, we need a trail, so you have to be available.
but that solves.
Right, so
you know,
customer calls, like, for one of our businesses, like, we have TJ Maxx. And they call us and say, oh, and store number 20 in Ohio, toilet's clogged. Fine, but we have to get that call, and we have to log it in, and then they find us a contract to go out and do it, so we have to be available for that call.
Your manager.
The remote doesn't have to
Your
be in the
job
office,
duties.
no one's walking
Your
out
job
the door.
duties, your function need to be on the manufacturing floor. I think that.
If you have to, yeah, if you have to like oversee, yes, if you're
Well, I'm
like,
not
you're
sure
a
about-
shift manager, yeah.
We. We've got two rules.
But we didn't have rules for a
I
while.
think all you needed to,
Because we were
6 hours on the
starting,
computer
young startup.
for these amount of hours.
Until we started bringing in employees. They brought on. Structure. which was
You're done,
fun.
you have your set of rules?
Because we
No,
have
I don't
government
think so.
business, Fannie
Um,
Mae, Freddie Mac.
well, we're still
We have to
discussing.
have a lot of security.
We haven't
and
come to a
lot of
consensus.
protocols, Which when people were in office, like literally there was, when I first started, there was no cell phone usage.
Well, no.
I remember going to my CFO like, okay, so.
Availability.
Well, you
We
know,
want the location.
when they're
that sounds
touring,
fair, I
you gotta make sure you
suppose.
have to follow the rules.
That sounds
because government
fair.
Contract with all government rules. It's remote.
Yeah.
So how are you gonna check if someone's on the phone?
Right.
So even though that's still in the handbook,
That limits your talent.
that applied when they were touring the office, and everybody, there's 400 people in 400.
Say your station, like you're here,
So-
right, like here, we're here in Plano. Like Portsmouth, we're here in Plano, but we really want to get
Well,
technology division beefed up. So we want to hire from like Stanford and MIT. Those positions leave the east and the west coast. You hire them remotely to work on the teams remotely because they don't move, but they're willing to
what
work
if I
for you.
need those people available for some on-site outreach?
How many, like, are they gonna need to be there every week for on-site evaluations? You can, they fly out and travel for,
What if it's only?
they get on a plane.
I feel
Like,
like that's the word.
It's like a
You have to be
caveat.
I think we can create guidelines, principles.
Like not like in bed or something.
You can't be working at the bar.
So you know, 1 week's
I mean,
notice.
I saw that one, Instagram, and they're having a meeting and someone's at the gym like sweating. No, I got it, I got all the notes.
Right,
She's like, what are you doing at the gym? Yeah, but
Past a certain.
What about,
Limited to.
you need to, if you're
Administrative
going
assistant
to be
Probably should be able to get to the office at some.
unavailable. you
Your
have to
C-suite people,
communicate that.
maybe they can live, stand, they commute. So also based on seniority.
Pretty good stuff.
Not in the terms of my company.
I think we boxed them in. I think we
I can-
boxed these employees in.
put it on the internet.
They're all gonna quit. They're gonna have to be done.
Have a set?
I think we're good.
The C-suites work from.
We started doing like collaboration.
How about you? Got a set?
Yeah, people.
I don't think we have anything.
Nick has all of them.
I don't think we have anything decided. We can have a discussion.
Have to go in that. It's like one service.
You were right.
Let's wait for 7 before we.
Guys, like, I really-
Oh, that movie?
Kind of, it's sort of. But. It's.
That movie with that. Intimidation. Intimidation? I think it's intimidation. Yeah.
But I think
Very, very
I'll
interesting.
accept the radius, I'll accept the radius.
Not, it's just not even the construction computer, but how they had
Because I
the
can accept that.
parameters of how they had
I
used
was
it
thinking about how
so that the enemy didn't know that they needed.
my post, I just,
Crazy.
and the example I saw was it requires when they do mile radius, the offices that come in first week. But still more than 50% of the company is outside of that radius, so they're full of.
Right.
So.
Trying to
they can do
upload the
move
file
outside of
to
that
show
radius,
you.
And you no longer have to do. This, that's nice, like you're limiting where you can live.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
But I think some level of that.
Okay. You leave on snacks too? Okay, for a minute there, I'm going to switch.
Yeah. I have strong reasons.
File. Let's upload in the file. There it is.
This was very much one of those.
Okay,
Did
I want you to look at this.
Did I steamroll you?
I feel- I
I'm
feel
sorry.
bad.
I'm sorry.
Adam Grant, for those of you who know who Adam Grant is, hey, managers, to keep your people, let them work from home 2 days a week. Landmark experiment, more than 1,600 people over 2 years, random assignment to hybrid work, increase satisfaction, reduces quitting by 33%, especially for women and low commuters, no cost for performance or promotion rates. It's all good, right? Tell me what your rules are. Because really, this means that every employee in the company needs to work from home 2 days. What are your rules?
We had a make sure, well. I had some rules and then we had the discussion about the rules. We could not come to an agreement on the rules. But I thought I thought the criteria was if you spend over 6 hours on your computer per workday, then you're eligible to work from home.
How many days?
What do you mean? Per day?
No.
Oh,
How many days can you work for?
indefinite.
Just indefinite.
Yeah.
You'll work from home.
Yeah.
Okay. What happens, so Amrit, you write in software, right?
Yeah.
You work in software. Do you work from home
Yes.
5 days a week? You ever go to the office?
Every now and then we have
Why?
this. So we have this thing called SAFE, and there's a PI planning event. And that's where all our teams everywhere come together to just talk about the work we're doing. And so after we've been working from home for many years, they said, hey, let's just come to the office and do this thing because we never meet each other. We just want to talk to each other.
But Neat just had a rule here that says you're gonna work from home entirely. You never come to the office. Or are there exceptions?
It's your.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can work from home the entire time.
Which takes you out of sync with the
Not
rest of the
forcing
team.
you. No. No. No.
Okay, give me another rule. I know that you have at least 2 rules.
But you gotta be available for 5 hours, between standard office hours, between like 8 and 6, 8 and 5. Something like that, you gotta be on your computer and available
Are there any specific hours?
between 8 working hours, wherever the company's located in that time zone. Those working hours in that time.
Okay. What are your rules?
We've got 5 rules with one caveat, but our rules are for remote.
See, that's what I'm talking, 5 rules, not 2.
All
ours
you
are
need
for
is 2, baby.
remote Workers only, like, so this is just if you know, this is just for remote workers, not like. We don't have any.
Oh, wait, so it's not for everyone? Because Adam Grant said everyone.
Yeah, it's for everyone who's,
This is for everyone that's remote.
Basically,
everyone's remote, so this is for everyone.
We adopted the.
Everybody in MCS, 400 people, we have 400 people. Is everybody going to work from home?
everybody in the corporate office, I think is what you said, because there's people who actually, I guess, are like technicians, right? And so they can't do that work because they're out in the field. They do come back to the corporate office, is my understanding, occasionally to do. some-
Wait, I work for McDonald's. Is that a problem if I work from home?
Yes,
Yes.
Why?
Because you
You're not on
cannot
your
make the
computer
burgers
for an
from
hour,
home.
6 hours.
I'm not working for McDonald's. I kid you, I am a pilot in American Airlines. The flight attendant goes on the PA. Our pilot today is going to be Yoram Solomon. He will be flying this plane remotely from home over the internet. We're going to be flying today at the altitude of 32,000 feet and 6 inches. Not everyone. Life is not as simple as Adam Grant pretended it to be. Remote work is a trend that started because of what? Because of COVID. What?
I'm sorry.
It's like, do you see something there? If you see something there, you'll tell me. It started because of COVID. It started because we didn't have any alternative. We had to separate. Who here works from home? Who here tried to work from home and it didn't work? Did anybody try to work from home? I'll tell you, when I started my latest business 10 years ago, the first few months were really, really hard. I was not used to working from home. I was not used to being, 12 seconds away from 2 refrigerators. I now lost weight, but I gained weight when COVID started. I did not have the discipline. Some people don't have the ability to work remotely. It's not for every person. Forget the job. It's not for every person. You don't want the pilots to work from home. You don't want the technician to work from home. You don't want the mechanic to work from home. The assembly manufacturer employee to work from home. It's not for every job. It's not for every person. Is productivity better or worse when working remotely?
I think worse.
It's what?
I think worse.
You think worse? So there was a study done. They asked, you think it's better?
I would say it's the same.
It's the same. There was a study that was done asking if productivity went up or down as working remotely. They asked 2 types of people. They asked employees and they asked managers. 12% of managers said productivity didn't go down. 87% of employees. Depends on who you ask. How do you know that the employee that you have working from home is actually working? So we have software that monitors the employee at home, right? Have you ever taken a proctored exam where there's a piece of software and your computer screen is locked and your camera is actually looking at you and they can tell if you're cheating or not, right?
Wells Fargo had that technology.
Yeah.
All those people got fired recently.
Do they still use it?
I saw their mouse click pattern. And they fired like 12 people because they were using the technology and there was the same pattern on their mouse that was going.
You know why? Why was it the same pattern? So as soon as they came up with a piece of software that tracks the movement of the mouse to tell if the mouse is moving, then that means that you're by your computer. Immediately, I saw several YouTube videos. One of them showed how to build with Legos, how to build a little device that would move the mouse all the time. And then somebody else did that with a 3D printer. And then somebody came up with an app because most mice are optical. This mouse here is optical. Okay, I'm not gonna pull it. So there's an app on your phone that has patterns changing on it. So if you put the mouse on it, it would pretend to move the mouse around. Is that what working from home means? Can we trust employees to work from home? No.
If the work's still getting done and people are doing it like that, then you don't need them on the team. Cut them.
Let me rephrase that. I agree with you, Nick. Let me rephrase that. If you can't trust your employees to work from home, you have the wrong employees, period. If you have the right employees that you can trust, then you can trust them. You don't track them. Heard the phrase trust but verify? Where is it coming from?
JFK?
JFK, that's not one that I heard.
Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan, no, it actually is a Russian maxim that Ronald Reagan used.
Reagan, yeah.
But he used it, he made it famous, but it actually is an original Russian phrase. Trust but verify. The problem is when you verify, you show that you don't trust. I'll tell you a little story. My daughter Maya, when she was about a year old, that's when she lifted herself from the floor, and instead of crawling, she started standing. And the next thing that she did when she realized that she can stand was she tried walking. And after she realized that she can walk, the next thing she tried what? Running, yes. And the first time she tried running, what happened? She fell down. And the first thing she did when she fell down was what? She what? Stand up. No. Right. No. First thing she did was she turned around and she looked at me. And if my reaction would have been, then she would start crying because obviously something terrible had happened. And if my reaction would have been get up, keep going, she would get up and go. First thing she did was she turned around and looked at me. Trust works the same way. If I trust you and I show you that I trust you, you will behave in a trustworthy way. If I don't trust you and I put a software on your monitor to monitor your behavior, you will not behave in a trustworthy way. You need to make sure that you have trustworthy employees if you want to put them to work remotely. It doesn't work for every job. It doesn't work for all tasks of the job. A big part of building trust is when the team is together. It's not only for coordination, it's to build trust. It's to learn the same language. Can't tell you how many times you put a group of people in the same team and they still don't have the same language. And I'm not talking about they're not speaking English. I'm talking about them not using the same terminology. When you work together in a relatively smaller confined area, you get to the point where you can finish each other's statements. At that point, it's a lot easier to work remotely. But you still need those coordinations, those team building that happens in one place. It's not this simple. And you're starting to see that it's not that simple. Okay, let's continue. Okay, once again, I want you in teams. First of all, cars, well, maybe not cars because you have cars. Cars or airlines, what do you prefer? Who owns cars? What? Who owns airlines? Who didn't understand the question? Okay, I have majority for airlines. Here's a list of 9 mission statements of 9 different airlines. What I want you to do in your teams is to write numbers 1 through 9. Who do you think, without researching on the internet, I want you to try and tell from this who are the different airlines. I want you to work in teams because every team needs to come out. Yeah, cars. Yeah. Oh, no, what did I do?
All right, forward, Japan Airlines.
Hub in Dubai, so that's what air.
Oh, wait, which one?
So number 8 is Global Hub in Dubai, and number 4
is
customers in Japan and around the world. So
I think that's where.
that's
Emirates is.
Japan Air. I mean, I really don't know. I'm just.
Yeah, Jay, that's what I was thinking.
Same.
JAL.
Yeah, I would say that's what I'm
Great, great.
We aim to become an airline.
Okay, 6, deliver the best value in the sky and be the most successful airline on earth.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, Spirit is going international, but I think JetBlue.
Yeah,
It's 5 Southwest.
I would say JetBlue maybe. I
5
don't-
maybe.
Service the highest quality that is
6.
great. Oh, all that Israel has to offer, what airlines.
Successful, I don't think they're that.
Hey, so what did I say about not researching them?
No, we're just writing it down.
It's
Okay.
word.
Come
Or
look.
document.
Okay. Wait, let me install monitoring software on your computer.
Okay,
But
oh, yeah,
that's
all
the
right,
only-
yeah,
It's-
yeah.
it's-
Yeah,
Alright,
Southwest.
First one.
Yeah.
I would think, I mean, it says
I'm open.
incorporate all that Israel has to.
Nine,
after-
nine sounds like a very American
yeah.
Airlines.
Next.
Not gonna be shareable, it's very American Airlines.
So nine is American
At
Airlines.
least 1 to 1,
You agree with that?
like for every airline, they have one.
Spirit.
That's
That's
at least 1 to 1, like for every airline, they have one.
Every airline
Yeah,
is one of
it's
them,
a-
yes.
Uh-huh.
Not, no two of them are the same.
To maximize the returns, it's definitely,
That sounds very American.
American nine.
I'd be
I
fine
think,
with
I
that.
think nine sounds good.
Which one's
Number
Southwest?
9 sounds
I
like.
think-
shit.
I wanna say five is.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I would say 8 is. Okay, what about 7 is?
Friendly is the thing that there's like the five planets in the sky. Friendly is what made me think Southwest.
Israel has to.
What about Delta?
I don't know. That's like gotta be. the
Delta is
cushiest.
there.
No one is really.
Who has the most destinations? That's like one. That's one.
How many did you write down? Maybe we have.
I have
Four.
Four. Okay,
Uh,
how many do you have? How many do you have so far?
We've got our 9 down.
Oh, they got 9.
Oh, okay.
Should we start writing down airlines now?
Okay, I don't wanna spend too much time on it, so let's start getting, what do you have? What's number 1?
Delta,
Delta. 2,
American,
3,
Lufthansa,
4,
Spirit.
5.
So, sorry, 4 was Japan.
Japan.
Yeah. 4 was Japan?
Yeah, 5 was Southwest,
Wait. 4, Japan Airline, 5, Southwest.
6 Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get 7. Wasn't sure what 7 was.
Yeah, we just.
So when you said we have 9,
Sorry, I messed up on my
what do
list.
you have on 8?
Emirates,
9?
China Air,
Okay, what do you have? What do you have at all?
Yeah, what do we have?
So one, we
What?
got. Just hit them with it. 4, we got
4,
Japanese Airlines,
4, what?
or Japanese
Yeah,
Airlines.
yeah.
Hang on, this is what you have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Don't worry, that
The-
they're not necessarily
We
right,
said 4
okay,
was Japan Airlines because it says Japan in the thing.
okay, could be
5
A&A.
is Southwest,
Which one?
Southwest for 5.
5
5
Southwest,
Southwest. 7 Israel,
it would be El Al,
and then 9 is American
9 is American.
Airlines, American Airlines.
you can do.
Okay, so I actually don't remember which one is which, so, I'm not gonna do that to you. What we're gonna do instead is, where are the airlines? Oops. Airline. Oh, come on. I'm telling you, those right-handed mice. Okay, I got it. So if we highlight this box and just decide that everything is going to be black, including the things that are not. Number 1 is American Airlines, not Delta. Number 2 is Delta, not American Airlines. Number 3 is Lufthansa, good. Number 4, both of you got it, Japan Airlines. Number 5, both of you got it, Southwest Airlines. Number 6, Spirit. Number 7, El Al, you have it. Number 8 is the Emirates. Number 9 is Singapore Airlines. What did we get from this exercise? What does it mean?
Lines of useless mission statements.
Okay. Say it again out loud.
Airlines have useless mission statements.
So should we do the cars now to see how useful they are? Second. Share again because we're recording this. Zoom is very easy to use. Okay, Very useless mission statements. If we go to the next slide, you remember those, right? The 3 disciplines of market leaders. There is a good article that I think that later in the course, you're gonna have it as mandatory reading. It's called Strategic Intent. Unfortunately, a lot of companies, what they do is they come up with mission statements that, as you saw, you got a few of them, but let's be honest, you know, Japan Airlines, you got because it said Japan. Emirates, you got because it said Dubai. You got El Al, the Israeli airline, because it said Israel. So some of them are a little more obvious because of the name, but the others, you know, you didn't get anything from their mission statement. You didn't know is there anything that this airline is doing that is unique? And one of the important things for a company to go through a transition is to actually choose a strategic intent that is unique, that differentiates them. Again, I'll tell you a story. I worked with a company that had an electronic manufacturing facility. And I asked them to come up with a mission statement. So everyone had to come up with a mission statement, just like the ones you saw before. The electronic manufacturing group, they came up with, we are going to provide the best products and best service to all of our customers in the most timely manner. I have a very simple test to a mission statement. Try and say the opposite. So we're going to provide the best customers at the best time. Try and say the opposite. Worst products, worst services, terrible timing, right? Does that sound stupid as a mission statement? If the opposite sounds stupid, the original is meaningless because you're stating the obvious. Because the opposite of the obvious is stupid, right? So one of the assignments that you're going to get, and it's not today, but one of the assignments you're going to get is to come up with the real mission statement for your company. What needs to be the real mission statement for your company moving forward as we adopt a change? You know what? I'm not going to do it today. I don't know why I had it here today. We're going to do that in another time. We're actually wrapping up pretty nicely. So, you know what? No, let's do another excellent. No. No. We're going to do the mission statement. We're not going to do it today. There's going to be, actually, we're going to start with that tomorrow. Not tomorrow, next week. So I want to talk about next week because next week is going to be kind of cool. Anybody who's not going to make it next week for any reason? No, good, because we're going to need 4 teams next week in what we do. What we're going to do next week is something that's called scenario planning. The reading that you have, let me skip to the reading. The reading that you have are, I think, 3 articles on, related to scenario planning. Scenario planning is a process. I'll talk next week. I'll start by talking about what is scenario planning. How does it work? The company that really started that is Shell Oil. And their scenario planning goes out 50 years into the future. Because here's the thing, some things will not change overnight. So the question is, what changes in 50 years? For Shell Oil, for their industry, oil consumption are things that happen or changes in oil consumption change over long periods of time. What you're going to come up with, and this is going to be your homework, is to come up with something with a challenge, and I'll go back to the assignment for next week. You're going to come up with something that is more immediate. A trend, a mega trend, you read about mega trends, a mega trend, a challenge, a grand challenge that affects your company. Now, I would encourage you to think in terms of technology. As I said before, I would even further encourage you. Maybe there is something that artificial intelligence can do. Don't have to. You can come up with any trend, any challenge that you feel like. Now, there are 3 articles here. What I would recommend that you do is, if you read all 3 of them, if every one of you reads all 3 of them, that's great. Don't have to. You can split the work, but I do need every team to have read all 3 articles, okay? So you can split it among yourselves. The assignment that you have for next week are identify a challenge or a mega trend that your company needs to address from what you learn. Why should your company address it? So it's not just, we want to address the trend of artificial intelligence. Great, why? Why is this something that your company needs to address? How am I going to grade it? First, the selection of a challenge. It's 20%. Identify a challenge. What is the data source for you to use this challenge or claim that it's a challenge? Why is it a challenge? Why is it hard to overcome? If it wasn't hard to overcome, then it wouldn't be under the category of challenge, right? Selection of a trend, identifying a mega trend, something that happens. What is the source? Why is it happening? How did it evolve in the past? Is it a fit to your company, to Toyota or to MCS? Is it a fit? Why should your company care about this trend, this challenge? How does it fit within the company's real mission? Remember when we started, we talked when Amrit said, I need the car, I need reliability. What he actually needed was availability, not reliability. What is the real mission of your company? Why is this company in a position to address those? How would the company be positioned if they did address it? Does that all make sense? What you need to write? Format and then self-grading. You did self-grading well. Homework article reading, you have that. The discussion here, you know, when you read the articles mostly focus on the strength of scenario planning or why is scenario planning so great. But I want you to write in the discussion, what are the strengths, but I also want you to write what are the weaknesses. It's going to be a little harder for you to come up with weaknesses. I want you to think about once you understand what scenario planning is, I want you to think about what the weaknesses are. Okay, what we got today, what we achieved today, first of all, things are not simple. Adopting a trend is not simple. You read what Adam Grant said about remote work. Everybody needs to work from home at least 2 days. Well, it's great on paper, but it doesn't work. And you couldn't come up with rules in time. Nobody expects a company to come up to, we have 10 minutes or 15 minutes to come up with rules to adopt remote work. You see that it takes a lot more work than that. You learned today that mission statements need to be really differentiating. You saw how you had a hard time identifying the airlines based on mission statements because those mission statements were very obvious and the opposite would essentially be stupid. Again, what we'll do next week is scenario planning. What you're going to have to think about is, first of all, understand what scenario planning is. We are going to start with identifying what the goal is. What is it that you're trying to achieve with your 2 companies? Again, this goes back to what's the higher order mission of your company? What is it that your company really does? We talked about what Toyota does. We didn't get to talk about that. Now, one thing is that we're actually going to take one of the companies next week and do scenario planning for that company or kind of kick it off. Now, we have 2 options. One is to choose one of the companies. 2 is to pick up a completely different company. I know it's kind of not fair if we choose one of the companies here, but it will make it a lot more hands-on, because at least for one of the companies, you know a lot of information. So I leave it up to you. Next week, I'm going to ask, what do you want to choose? So either we choose MCS or we choose Toyota, or I want you to come up with the name of a third company that we're gonna use. Okay? Any questions?
Sorry, the third company that's for the entire class to do?
Yeah, everything we do next week is the entire class. We're gonna start as as you see how scenario planning works, we're gonna start brainstorming as an entire class. Then at some point, we're gonna break into four teams of two.
So we'll make that decision next week. Then. Like what company to choose?
Yeah, I mean, it's at some point next week, I'm going to ask, what company are we choosing? Are we choosing Toyota, MCS, or something else? Yes.
So this discussion question is individual, and then the rubric one is by the group.
Discussion is individual, the assignment is a team. This will always be the case. Yes, you have 5 assignments as a team. By the way, this week's assignment was only 4 points. Next week's assignment, not this one, the one before, is 6 points. So from this moment on, it's 6 points. You have 4 assignments every week. Week 6, you don't have an assignment, because week 7, you have to deliver a project. Okay? Questions? Don't forget, you need to answer 2. You need to comment on 2 separate discussion posts. Okay? Good night. I'll see you next week. It's easier when the class is smaller.
Can you go back to the link?
1 second. Let me just stop the recording.
Remember to do your.
1 second. Give me a second. Recording. Stop.